Now, in the 18th century, we're transitioning from the exact sciences, things work the way they say they work in the Bible, to observations. One of those interesting things is that people had odd understandings of germs and germ theory. They believed that diseases were propagated by bad air, and maggots spontaneously appear out of nowhere. Interestingly enough, a English vicar by the name of Needham was experimenting with yeast. And he discovered that if I only inoculate sugars with yeast, I get growth. If I have pure water or pure sugar water and I bring it to a boil so that it's clean and I seal it in a sealed container, nothing grows. And from that he was able to conclude that life comes from life. Just like rabbits and sheep propagate amongst themselves, so do the yeast and the bacteria that we have around in our world. And he was able to tie that to Leeuwenhoek's experiments about 100 years before with the microscope and postulate that these animals, as he will call them, in the beer are actually propagated from like animals. But we talk about miasmas, and miasmas are still prevalent. People still believe in miasmas today. You'll see if you go to the grocery store, there's an aisle where they have air fresheners, which don't really freshen the air, they just perfume the air. Because this belief of miasmas, that things that smell bad make you sick, is something that comes out of this 14th, 16th century mythology. Nothing is more indicative of that than the story of the four thieves. In the Black Plague of Europe, there were four thieves, and they were incarcerated in the Tower of London. And during the plague, they were sent out to collect the dead bodies. But the mother of one of the thieves was an herbalist, or as we would call them today, a witch. And she made a concoction of parsley, sage, rosemary, thyme, some vinegar, some garlic, a little lavender, something that made them smell better and masked the smell of the things they were dealing with. And like the plague mask, they were able to filter the air that they breathe through this nice smelling ointment, and they were able to protect themselves. Now, the reality is that the smells didn't protect them. The reality is that this parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme is actually a very potent antifungal, antiseptic, and most importantly, a insect repellent, which kept the lice and the fleas that were propagating the Black Plague from biting them, and they were able to do this job without getting infected by the plague. But the idea of miasmas will continue and be present even to our 1790s epidemic in Philadelphia, where Dr. Rush will wear a mask much like this to protect himself from the bad air when he goes to treat patients of the yellow fever. And you may even see it as late as the 1918 yellow fever epidemic, when people will bring masks that look like our modern masks and filter out all of the pathogens that we're trying to protect ourselves in our current COVID epidemic.